Chapter 10. Our Struggle for Freedom. Ponder Point. Uprising shaken the souls of Indians which have accepted the slavery of the Britishers. But still, there were many Indians who did not want the British to leave India. Why do you think they felt this way? Who paved the path for freedom? Reading objectives. Society and its upliftment. Spreading patriotism. The partition of Bengal. Swadeshi movement. Revolutionaries. World War I and India. Society and its upliftment. India was a prosperous society, politically and economically in the Vedic age, but as the intruders invade our country, some social ills got into the Indian society. Practices like the caste system, killing of female babies, sati and child marriage were evils that divided the society and kept it backward. The educated Indians realized that for the progress of Indian society primary education is necessary, which can remove these outdated customs and superstitions. Several social reformers like Raja Ram Mohan Roy, Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar, Dayanand Saraswati and Syed Ahmad Khan fought against these evil practices. Spreading patriotism. Uprising made educated Indian more dissatisfied with the British rule. Many of these people and some Englishmen who supported them came together in 1885 and formed the Indian National Congress. The first session of the Indian National Congress was held in Bombay, Mumbai. After that, annual session held in different cities every year. In the beginning, the Indian National Congress did not raise the question of freedom from British rule. Their main demand was to bring reforms so that Indians could lead a more free and better life. The moderates who wanted better life under British rule followed the path of peace to get freedom. The extremists, several other leaders, were not in favor of path of peace or a soft approach. They preferred a stronger and more active opposition to the British. They wanted Swaraj or self-rule for the Indians. They were called the extremists. Some of the important leaders of this group were Bal Gangadhar Tilak, Bipin Chandra Pal and Lala Lajpat Rai. Tilak started a newspaper named Kesari in which he spoke out against the British. He wanted to arouse the feeling of patriotism in Indians. He declared, "Freedom is my birthright, and I shall have it." The partition of Bengal. The Britishers always applied divide and rule policy. The British were worried about the growing feeling of nationalism among the Indians. After the revolt, they realized that if the Indians got united, they could easily throw the British out. That time religious beliefs were very strong and feeling of nationalism was the strongest in Bengal. So, in 1905, they decided to divide Bengal into two parts, one for the Hindu and the other for the Muslims. Swadeshi movement. The anger in the people gave rise to the Swadeshi movement. Swadeshi means own country. People pledged to use goods made in their own country and boycotted British goods. It was started in Bengal but soon spread to other parts of India. Bonfires of British goods, especially clothes, were made at several places. The Britishers tried to crush down the movement. They mercilessly beaten and fined the people. But ultimately, the opposition to the partition of Bengal was successful and the British were forced to withdraw the partition of Bengal in 1911. Revolutionaries. Emotions aroused when Bengal got divided. Several young Indians started using more violent means to fight the British. They formed groups to fight the British, and were willing to sacrifice their lives for the country. Chandrasekhar Azad was their contemporary. He reorganized the Hindustan Republic Association under his supervision. They were called the Revolutionaries. The movement, however, was not very successful. Since the revolutionaries resorted to violent means of protest, they were not joined by the general masses. World War I and India. In 1914, World War I broke out. Lakhs of Indian soldiers fought with the British Army. Thousands were killed. Indians thought that British would be more sympathetic towards them after the war. But afterwards, the British became even harsher towards Indians. They imposed fresh taxes to recover the losses they suffered in the war. In 1915, Mahatma Gandhi came back to India from South Africa, while World War I was going on. He adopted the path of ahimsa, and started independence movement in India. Searching dictionary. Social. Related to society and to people's living. Reformer. One who wants to uplift something. Nationalism. Pride for one's own country. Patriotism. Respect and loyalty towards one's country. Word to know. Practices like the caste system, killing of female babies, sati and child marriage were evils that divided the society and kept it backward. The first session of the Indian National Congress was held in Bombay, Mumbai. The moderate wanted better life under British rule, followed the path of peace to get freedom. The extremists preferred a stronger and more active opposition against the British. In 1905, Britishers decided to divide Bengal into two parts, one for Hindu and other for the Muslims. World War I broke out and lakhs of Indian soldiers fought with the British Army.